Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on what side of the world you are on. Welcome to TradeStation for this very special Art of TradeStation presentation. For more than 35 years, TradeStation has been the online brokerage of choice for advanced traders seeking comprehensive investment options and futures. Traders actively engaged in stock, options, and futures trading can rely on us at TradeStation to meet their needs. Today we're going to be talking about the intraday VWAP. As we move into the presentation here, Mike Burke will take over. He is the Vice President of Client Training and Education at TradeStation. Since he's joined TradeStation in the 1990s, he has shown thousands of traders, novice and professional alike, how to become better acclimated to the power of strategy backtesting, options trading, and the TradeStation platform, including our easy language programming. Remember that everything we talk about here is for educational purposes only. All the symbols, all the trading ideas, and everything that we discuss are for demonstration purposes. They are not recommendations. This presentation is not an offer or a solicitation of any jurisdiction where TradeStation affiliate is not authorized to do business, including but not limited to Hong Kong and Japan. Remember that active trading is not suitable for everyone. Options and futures trading carries a high degree of risk and may not be suitable for all traders. I've included in the chat panel some very important pieces of disclosure information regarding the characteristics and risks of standardized options, as well as the other asset classes that we cover here at TradeStation. I urge everybody to think long and hard about joining us in Plantation, Florida, January 28th to February 1st for our Masterclass. At the TradeStation Masterclass, you can master TradeStation in just 1 week. We offer a TradeStation deep dive on the platform training that takes 2 days, strategy development and testing for 1 day, and easy language fast-track programming for 2 days. The TradeStation Masterclass. Become a TradeStation Master Trader. I'll turn things over to Mike Burke right now for the rest of the presentation. Thanks very much, everybody, and welcome to TradeStation.
Oh, thank you very much, Don, and thanks everybody for joining us today. As Don said, my name is Michael Burke. I'm Vice President of Client Training here. Today we're going to talk about volume-weighted average price. This is a concept that has been around for a long time, especially in the institutional world. And at TradeStation, we calculate volume-weighted average price in real time, and you can see that in the matrix, and you can see it in different places. But today we're going to talk about a tool that allows us to look at historical volume-weighted average price, and it allows us to identify intraday trend and intraday support and resistance levels. And I'm also going to show you some cool tools that allow us to scan for opportunities using radar screen. But this tool was developed actually a few years ago when we had the TradeStation Labs team, and this has actually been a tool that's been in the App Store for a number of years and been successful in the App Store. And I felt that it needed an update. It needed some code optimization, but what it really needed was a radar screen scan, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll go through the concepts and we'll look about how we can use this for intraday trading. So as Don said, VWAP stands for volume weighted average price. It is the average price a security is traded at up to that point during the trading day. It's typically a gauge for the price that buyers and sellers are agreeing at that moment is a fair price for the security at that time for that day. And VWAP is used by institutional traders as well. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in algorithmic trading programs to price average or time slice large trades, and they use the VWAP as a benchmark price that they're trying to reach. This new version of the VWAP indicator I'm going to show you has been, like I said, optimized a little bit from the original version that's in the store now. The reason this indicator exists is because VWAP is generally a snapshot field. It's only really available on the last bar on the chart in real time, and it doesn't really have any historical data for charting or backtesting. We're actually accumulating values throughout the day, so we come up with as close an approximation as possible to simulate that real-time VWAP, and that's what this indicator does. So the real-time VWAP calculation, and we do this on the TradeStation data network for every symbol in real time. So every stock, every future, there's a VWAP that is calculated in real time. And we take each unique trade price. So each unique trade is multiplied by that trade size for that unique trade. And the cumulative total for the day is divided by the total volume for the day, and that's what comes up with that singular price, which is the average price that the instrument is traded at to that point in the day. The historical VWAP calculation that we're talking about today in the indicator that I'm going to show you is we take each closing bar price and multiply it by the bar volume. And then we accumulate those totals and divide it by the total volume for the day up until that point. So it gives us a very close approximation of the volume weighted average price in real time. However, it does require that the chart be a 1 to 3 minute bar interval. And I have found that 1 to 3 minute charts gives us a really great approximation of the real-time VWAP with the historical VWAP. And I'll actually show you the comparison between the two in real time in radar screen. So I've actually built that into the VWAP radar screen indicator so you can verify how closely the historical VWAP is matching up with the real-time one. So I wanted to have a tool that gave us some confidence in the number. So take a look at the chart here. This is the VWAP indicator that we've had in the store for a little bit of time, and as I said, I've done some code optimization. I've added a couple of interesting things here, but let's just kind of look at the elements of the indicator. The gold line that you see there running through the day is the current VWAP. That's the calculation where we take each bar, multiply it by the volume, accumulate that value. That's the historical VWAP value. And what we found is that VWAP value on previous days turn out to be really good support and resistance levels for the current day. So you'll see 4 lines with made up of little crosses there. Each of those lines refers to the VWAP of the previous days. Cyan, the blue color, is yesterday. Green is the day before yesterday. Red or magenta is 3 days ago, and black or gray is 4 days ago, or white is 4 days ago. And you can plot all or none of these levels using inputs. There's also a color legend. If you look in the upper right-hand corner of the chart, I've added a color legend to the status line. So if you forget what those colors mean, you can always look at the status line. It'll tell you exactly what that is. The other thing that this indicator does now is that when the close of any bar or the last real-time bar, if any of those prices cross any of the support or resistance lines that you see on the chart, then we plot that as a little larger cross. You can see these 2 blue larger crosses here, and each of those larger crosses indicate that we've had a cross over one of those key support levels. Let's go to TradeStation and look at this in real time. So this is the spiders. This is today, by the way. So instead of a white background, I'm using a black background for my trading. So the yellow line here is the current VWAP. The blue is 1 day ago. The magenta is 3 days ago. The white is 4 days ago, and the green down here is 2 days ago. So that was what the VWAP closed at on each of those previous days. And you can see that whenever we get a cross above or below any of those key lines, we extend the size of those little crosses. On the left-hand side is the new addition to this package, which is the radar screen. By the way, you can use this on stocks or futures. I have it on both here in the workspace, so if you're a stock trader or a futures trader, the workspace is already kind of built for you, and of course you can add your own symbols to that as well. And with the 2 windows linked, whenever you see an alert inside of the VWAP indicator and radar screen, you can simply click on a symbol and go and see if that's a trade opportunity. So for example, right now Apple is telling me that we have a bullish cross today. And so here I can come and I can see that the price is kind of moving through that. Apple's been kind of quiet today. Actually it's been kind of quiet for a while. And so, we can take a look at that and see if that's an opportunity. Here in charting, let's take a look at the inputs real quick for this indicator. I'm just going to double click on one of these support lines, and that takes me to the format indicator dialog. Here you can see you can change the colors for each of the 5 plots. And you'll notice that there's a true or false switch for each of those. So if you don't want the plot that is 4 days ago or 3 days ago, you can turn those off by setting those defaults. And you can also change the colors in radar screen. So the question I get asked most about this indicator is how accurate is it compared to the real-time calculation throughout the day. And so here in Radar Screen, I've added 2 columns that you can add or remove simply by using the hide column feature of Radar Screen here to show or hide those columns. And here, the VWAP today is what we are calculating historically, and this is the VWAP coming from TradeStation's data network. And I'm using 3-minute charts here, so the resolution isn't quite as good as a 1 minute, but you can see that they're pretty close. For example, the Qs are exactly the same, the diamonds are exactly the same, and once in a while you'll see a difference. Here Google is 3 cents off, but a 2 or 3 cent difference on a stock that's $1,000 that you're day trading probably isn't enough to really worry about. I mean, the bid-ask spread in Google is probably more than 2 or 3 cents during the day. In my trading, I've noticed that when multiple levels are close together, like I've seen in NVIDIA lately. So if we look at NVIDIA, notice how we have 3 of those VWAP values closing kind of all together there at the bottom of the chart. That tends to be a really strong support or resistance level. And if you look back at yesterday, you can see what I mean by that. So here is NVIDIA yesterday, and the market kind of came down to those support levels a couple of times and bounced off of them really nicely. So you see that sometimes. The other thing that I notice a lot in this indicator, since I added the larger cross alert, is that this double tap happens a lot at support and resistance levels. So I kind of call that a double tap, where it comes down and it crosses below one of those support lines, and then it immediately on the next bar crosses back up, or the next couple of bars. So that little double tap happens quite a bit, and it kind of highlights the fact that these tend to be pretty good support and resistance levels. Sometimes you get, this is a, you might call this a triple tap, where it goes through it the first time, and then it says, no, I don't think I want to go through there, and it goes back up again, and then, okay, it says, yeah, I think I am going to go through there, and it goes back down again. So sometimes you'll see these double taps or triple taps. And sometimes at the beginning of the day, when you've got really large bars and it's trading right at the VWAP, you'll see a number of those kind of crosses. But it's an interesting way of looking at a volume-weighted average price. And as I said, I also have this in the futures market. So let's just take a look at the Radar Screen indicator really quick here. The first column is the alert text. So anytime you have a real-time alert where one of the symbols is crossing any of the 5 lines on the chart, you're going to get an indication. It'll tell you a bullish or bearish cross, and it'll either say 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, or 4 days ago, or today. And then you'll also see in the next column the last cross. This is whether the last cross was a bullish or bearish cross. In other words, did it cross above a level or did it cross below a level? This watch list has all of the futures continuous contracts in it, and of course here on the stock list you can add any of the stocks that you'd like to add to this as well. So I think there's a number of interesting trading ideas that can be derived from this. And as I said, when I'm doing any day trading, this is one of the tools that I definitely look at. I tend to look at the slope of the VWAP and try to take trades in the direction of that VWAP slope. And again, I kind of look for those double taps and triple taps at key levels. And I'm pretty sure that just by looking at some of these charts that I've shown you, you're already kind of thinking of ideas, ways you might use this to incorporate this into your decision-making process. So if you take the 10-day trial for this, you're going to see it in TradeStation here in the Trading App Store updates. So in the app selector, select Trading App Store updates, and you go to the little trial tab, and you'll see it right here. You can, once you subscribe in the App Store, you click launch, it automatically downloads, and you can play with that for 10 days. So as I said, this tool's been available in the store for about 4 years. It's $9 per month, but the new version is the version that has the radar screen. So we're phasing out that original version that only has the charting indicator, and this is now the current version. You are not automatically opted in, so after 10 days it'll ask you if you want to opt in. So this is what it looks like in the store. On that page there is a button for the free trial, and there is also a PDF that is a white paper that pretty extensively goes through all of our thinking behind writing this, how it's calculated, how to use it. So all of that is available for free. Even if you don't take the trial or you don't subscribe, at least take a look at that PDF. So let's take a look at Amazon real quick before we sign off. So this is Amazon, and you can kind of see it's been bouncing off of that VWAP throughout the day, and there's those support levels. All the support is below Amazon, so there's not a lot of resistance, at least VWAP resistance above that. There's obviously other resistance levels above that, but this is a good example of when the market's moving up, those VWAP values tend to be below the prices, and when the market's moving down, the VWAP levels tend to be above the prices. So there's the link, and the link is in the chat. If you have any questions or you have any trouble, feel free to email me at mburke@tradestation.com. I'm happy to answer any questions or give you any additional information. So I want to thank everybody for spending this time with me and checking out our VWAP indicator and the concept around VWAP. Make sure that you check out the masterclass. We also have a great morning show every morning, Morning Market Briefing. And in Morning Market Briefing, we talk about what's going on that day before the trading day starts from 9 to 9:30 Eastern. Every day is a professional trader who is going to talk about the markets and how they trade and how they look at the markets. So if you've not signed up for Morning Market Briefing, definitely register for that and try it a couple mornings at 9 o'clock. So thanks everybody for joining us. Take a look at the VWAP PDF on the App Store, and please send me an email with any feedback, any questions, and I'm happy to answer those. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and have a great day and for the rest of your day, and good luck in your trading. Thanks everybody for joining us.